Why can't we lock them up? Why? Why can't we lock them up? Whenever I talk about this sort of thing, it doesn't do my channel any good, guys, but please hit the comments so I don't feel alone when I'm going to talk about Huw Edwards. All right? What has that got to do with flying training? Pretty much nothing other than the fact that in my life and in my school, I try and uphold a certain amount of standards. My students do, believe me as well. We're all about the standards. And this, I just see as the opposite of this. And I see this as not just an issue with a BBC presenter called Huw Edwards. I see this an issue with the country, because the problem with Huw Edwards is today, and I've got it on a tablet here so I can read you a bit of a story, guys. It says here, he's been given a 6-month suspended prison sentence. Suspended for 2 years for accessing indecent images of children. I hate talking about this. I hate the fact that we have to, as a society, protect our kids. Obviously, we need to do that, but we shouldn't have to. This is a guy who was a pillar of the community. I'm just going to cover a few things in here because I really hate doing this. We need to. Who else is doing it? Our courts aren't doing it. Our courts aren't. A suspended sentence for looking at pictures of kids. One of these kids was 7 years old. And it says here the kid was like penetrated. I hate talking about this, guys. You know, this is the problem with making videos like this. YouTube takes them down. It doesn't do my school any good. I lose out on business. No one sponsors the channel. No one's ever going to sponsor the channel, because no one's going to sponsor a channel with a guy talking about, I don't even say the word, kiddie abuse. That's what it is. It's kiddie abuse. Abuse of very small kids that can't even look after themselves, and their lives are ruined forever. Oh, jeez. Right, I'm going to read it out for you right now. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to read out bits of it. Right, disgraced former BBC presenter Huw Edwards has been sentenced to 6 months imprisonment, suspended for 2 years after pleading guilty to accessing indecent images of children as young as 7. Oh, come on. Why are we not throwing away the key on these people? I'll tell you why. It says it down here later. It says he admitted 3 charges of making indecent images. You can't do that. Or making indecent photographs after a convicted paedophile, Alex Williams, sent him 41 illegal images over WhatsApp. Now, the magistrate went through the mitigating factors, and this is quite interesting. So the magistrates looked at these other factors when he was taken into account in sentencing Edwards. He said he believed the former broadcaster's remorse was genuine and that his mental health at the time of the offences could have impaired his decision-making. Fuck me! Let me talk to you about mental health, because I'm flashed up now. When I left the military, I had mental health issues, but not once did I ever look at dodgy pictures of fucking kids. I didn't. It didn't even occur to me. Maybe I'm lucky in that respect, you know what I mean? Yeah, I had alcoholism and shit and some other things, and I hit the gym like men should. I didn't look at pictures of children. I'm sick of people using their mental health. It's such an easy way of getting out of this shit, isn't it? On my mental health. I've broken my tablet now. Come on. Annoys me that we've got these people in society. We can't lock them up. Why can't we lock them up? Why? Why can't we lock them up? What's wrong with locking these people up? Because the prisons are full. And we're putting people that post on Facebook in prison instead, aren't we? It's absolutely ridiculous, this, guys. I'm flashed up now. I'm not normally a flashed up kind of guy. He said, right, let's crack on. I don't want to make this a long video. He said, he added that the financial and reputational damage Edward suffered was the natural consequence of your behaviour, which is brought upon yourself. Jeez. I am of the clear view that you do not present a risk danger to the public at large, specifically just children. But of course he is a risk to kids. These pictures, they have to, you encourage it. When apparently he paid like 1,500 quid to get these pictures from this kid at this young man was at university, apparently, he said here. And he said, goes into weird stuff I don't really want. We'll talk about it, it's fine. It's fine. He says there's a realistic prospect of rehabilitation. And he declined to make a sexual harm prevention order against Edwards. So he says here, basically, Edwards sent hundreds of pounds to this Williams chap who was at university. And it says the prosecutor said it is clear from the face of the WhatsApp chat recovered that a deal of the chat between Alex Williams and Mr. Edwards was sexual in nature. Come on. Really? Oh, come on. I said, it was clear that Mr. Edwards was paying not insignificant sums of money, low hundreds of pounds on an occasional basis, to Alex Williams, which Mr. Williams directly asked for on several occasions as gifts or presents, apparently off the back of sending pornographic images to Mr. Edwards, about which images they chatted. He said he was going to use it at university, and it amounted to around £1,000 to £1,500. Then it goes into how the conversation went, like, do you want some pictures? Yes, I'll have some pictures, please. Basically, he said, do you want some pictures of a person whose age could be between 14 to 16? And then Mr. Edwards didn't respond. He sent a video of kids aged around 7 to 9 and 11 to 13. He sent them these videos. Oh, come on. I didn't even want to read this stuff. Do you not feel like, you know, when it's happened, you read this stuff, do you not feel grubby? You feel dirty, like you've got to have a shower now, you know what I mean? This life these people lead. I mean, I know it's a mental issue. Like, I know paedophiles, their sexual growth is stunted, isn't it? I've read about this stuff. So at the age of, like, well, in what's it, pre-adolescence, so, you know, I guess from 5 to 13, they stop maturing sexually, don't they? I think that's how it works. I'm not overly knowledgeable on this, you know, strange enough, it's not my bag, but so apparently they can't get any kind of sexual interest on anyone that's not of those ages. Does that make sense? So they go to it, and it's very hard to rehabilitate them. But anyway, the main thing is, this guy said, do you want some young looking pictures? And then he sent these pictures through to them. Oh god. Okay, and obviously he's very sorry for it, and he's hurt and damaged his family and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna put this away. So look, I was going through some social today because it's part of my business, and there was a woman crying about this, crying about the fact that he's not locked up. And that was a British woman that was crying about this. She's worried about kids and stuff, you know, it doesn't send the right message, does it? We're not locking people up for this kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not the guy that's going to sit and go, look, we're locking people up for, you know, for Facebook posts. I mean, the truth is we are. I mean, there's no two ways about that. We are. I just don't know what to do about it, because sedition technically is still illegal in the UK. That's when I would rally you up against the government and let's violently overthrow the. I'm not doing that. And of course, incitement to violence again is again illegal. I'm not saying we have to do this, but what mechanisms do we really have other than the ballot box to force a government to lock people like this up? In our society, we don't want people like this walking the streets. Okay, this is Huw Edwards, right? We've all known Huw Edwards. Yes, he's got mental health issues, but give him a custodial sentence. If he was serving 6 months, he'd be out in 3. But it would send the message, wouldn't it? Look, you're going to get locked up. If you do this, you're going to get locked up. It's like knife crime. If you walk on the street with a knife that you shouldn't have because you're not a builder, you're not a tradesman, anything like that, you're going to get locked up. That would send the right. And I know it's not. I'm not. Let's not talk about knife crime because I know it's more complicated as well. But it would send the right message. Should we be sending the right message, guys? Am I wrong here? My channel is not about this, but my channel is about standards. Because in the Air Force, that was my job. I was a standards officer. I get angry because I get contacted by people that don't live in this country anymore. A lot of my guys that went overseas, and they're like, Tim, you're quite animated about the UK. I'm like, you don't even live in the UK. You haven't seen what the UK has been going through. My guys left about 6 years ago. They went to the Middle East. They're flying out in the Middle East, all pilots and stuff, you know. They don't know what the UK is going through. They don't feel it every day. They don't see the news. They don't go through they don't get the other media. I mean, what should we be doing? How? What is the answer? Guys in the comments are very clever, and I read them. Don't get me wrong, I read the comments. I mean, some people are idiots, don't get me wrong, but I read be careful what you write, by the way, because if you do write the wrong words, YouTube automatically gets rid of that comment. I'm not getting rid of the comments. If you swear at me, I'll get rid of the comments, but you know, that's natural, right? But look, just be careful how you express yourself in the comments, because we want that conversation. We need to have that dialogue. I cannot get the fact out of my head that that man has not gone to prison. It's the weirdest. Now, he was a BBC presenter, wasn't he? Philip Schofield started off as a BBC presenter. Not that they said he wasn't with an underage guy, was he? But the whole thing with Philip Schofield, if I remember correctly, he was lying to everyone about the fact he was having an affair with a man, even though Philip Schofield was married. And then there was, of course, Jimmy Savile, wasn't there? And it seems to be, and I don't know why, that the BBC, well, media in general, kind of harbour these kind of people for some reason and kind of protect them. Someone actually wrote to me and they said, look, Tim, it's a bit like cannabis, isn't it? Like cannabis is kind of decriminalised. No one ever said we're going to decriminalise cannabis, but it kind of is. I was in London recently, and on the streets, you could smell it all the time. I'm not a massive fan. Smoked a bit at university, but I didn't like the fact, I didn't like the way it made me feel, right? Okay, cool. That's just me, 100%. I know people love it. No harm to them whatsoever. But it's kind of like decriminalised. And it kind of feels now that looking at indecent images of kids has been decriminalised. Am I wrong there? Since when on earth do we not send people like that to prison? Even if you send him down for 6 months, he's out in 3. It's still a custodial sentence. And, you know, I don't understand how it's like, it's a slippery slope, isn't it? It's, what is the word? It's, I can't even think of what it really, you know what I mean? That's the problem. It's because it's so, I can use the word insidious. It's an insidious demise of a societal function of standards. You know, we used to have standards in the UK. You know, we're Englishmen, English women, we're British, or whatever you want to call it. This wouldn't be tolerated, and we are tolerating it. It's going to get worse. And when do we stop? When it's our kids? Is that when we stop? Is that when we really complain about it? When it's our children? Oh, it's all right because it's someone else's 7-year-old being penetrated and pictures are being sent to this man here. I mean, I don't even, what's that kid's life like? Do they even know who that kid is? Have they found that kid? And the truth is, when you're paying for images like that, people are creating images. So yes, he was paying for images of kids being abused, which means that people go and abuse kids so that people pay for them. That's why you have a custodial sentence. That's why you get locked up, to stop people doing it, to stop people paying, because then there's no market for kids being abused. I mean, come on. You know, I don't get angry about much. Well, maybe I do now, because there seems to be a lot of things going on to be angry about. I'll stop this video, guys. And it's not regular for my channel. And I'm sorry to have to bring it to you, but I think I just want people to think about it. Like, where are we going? We have to uphold, look, we have to uphold standards in the UK. I saw this thing the other day, this guy cleaning streets, going around cleaning streets. I pick up litter in my village. I pick up litter if I'm in a car park, pick up litter if I'm walking towards a bin, pick up all the litter towards the bin. No one else is going to look after the country. No one. It's just you and me. That's all it is. Just us. I appreciate it, guys. Sorry to have to bring you a story. It sucks. Tim Davies, Flagship Performance.